What happened to your high school bully? He's part owner of an auto parts store I buy from. He's also the second baseman on my beer league softball team I coach. One of my players said they had a guy to fill in for a tournament. So, needing bodies, I agreed. My heart sank when he came strutting up. My player introduced me to him. And he said yeah, Strophery and I go way back. I made his life hell in high school. I don't think I'll be welcome to play. But thanks for the opportunity. He turned and started walking away. And I called him back over. Told him that if he's half as good as he was when we were teenagers, he's welcome to play. He immediately agreed. And after the first game, which we won by the mercy rule, he had a long chat with me in the beer gardens. We're good friends now. And he has a permanent spot on my team. And yes, he is still as good as he was on high school. I had two. One ended up in jail for selling meth and beating his girlfriend. Good riddance. The other one went to college and became a chemical engineer. He messaged me on Facebook a while back and apologized for being a douche in high school, which I accepted. Has a wife and a kid now. Seems to be doing good for himself, so I'm happy for him. My dentist told me a story about his bully. Just after he opened his practice, he made an emergency appointment because of a cracked tooth. The dentist recognized him, but the bully didn't. Bully got in the chair. Dentist said open wide and started examining him. Then he said, "You don't recognize me, do you?" Bully said no, the best he could with the dentist's tools in his mouth. "You used to bully me at school. You made my life hell." Perfect timing. The bully apologized and the dentist repaired his tooth. But imagine how he felt for those few seconds being absolutely powerless. Edit. This was in the UK in about 1992 when we didn't sue people for something that wasn't your fault. Was involved in a motorcycle accident and suffered serious brain damage. Actually made him a much nicer person. That accident knocked the cunt out of him. One of mine sniffed a lot of glue and ended up in a mental institution. He's still there last I heard. Two others attacked me late one night while I was walking near my home. These two were constantly in trouble as juveniles. One caught 2 bullets in a fight and died. The other was stabbed to death in a fight. I'm 70 now. I lived a good life after those 2 encounters. She was popular in high school. Until the day she got high off spice with her cousin and then stabbed her cousin to death. She's in jail now. Her family is broken. And she swears up and down she did it because God told her to. To be honest, I feel completely horrible for her family. They don't deserve the social backlash and the heartache. Dead. Both of them. One shot himself after he got into so much trouble he thought daddy couldn't bail him out. The other was doing 90 down a country road. Drunk off his ass and the road took a hard left and he didn't. Threw him through the windshield and killed on impact. One of them served time in prison for stabbing someone. Another tried spreading rumors that I went AWOL from the army and was living in Canada. I was able to confront that after I got back from the Gulf. We had various scraps for much of middle school. I hated him. He was a racist creep hurling various insults at me for laughs. I was the only dark boy in a rural town and hopelessly small. He took pot shots whenever he could, being so much bigger than me. We finally had a classic schoolyard brawl after school late in the winter. Surrounded by a dozen or so boys egging us on, we fought. I won with nothing more than a hard shove onto the frozen ground. His backpack spilled open and all his books and papers went flying out onto the snow-covered field alongside his will to fight. He stumbled away in sobs. The jocks nicknamed me Rocky after that fight and I felt vindicated and proud. Now when I think back all those years ago, my heart breaks for him in countless ways. He was molested repeatedly by his adoptive parents less than a block away from my own home. He was picked on by other kids as well. We were both outcasts in our own separate ways. But he suffered far worse than I could ever imagine. He ended up in juvie then. Later, in prison. I wish I could take back that fateful afternoon. Everyone here is fighting for their lives, facing all kinds of darkness. begging for a little light. He is happy, rich and have a beautiful wife. Duck him. Middle school bully. Got stuck in a loveless marriage and reached out to me 2 years ago. Not to apologize, but to try to sell me some health pyramid scheme bullet. Usually I'd politely decline. But for her I listed why the product sucked and explained why she was getting screwed over by selling it. I was pretty rude, but she wouldn't take no for an answer. Went so far as to mention how I wasn't looking to gain weight. As from her picture I assumed that's what it did. For a minute I felt bad. But this chick always got on me for being small and how it was unhealthy when she was obviously suffering physically from too much weight. I think she was trying to use her old ways to bully me into buying. Guessing she didn't realize I'm not 12 and have learned to stand up for myself. We became best friends. And I'm going to be in his wedding next year. How did that come about? We started hanging out with the same group of people. Eventually buried the hatchet. Smoked a lot of weed together. And made a bunch of memories. She dated one of my primary school bullies. He raped her. She got pregnant. Now she's raising his child alone. I feel sorry for her. She might be horrible but one deserves that. He became a Disney star after his success on Vine. Made millions of dollars. And now lives in a mansion in Cali. You might have heard of him and his younger brother, Logan and Jake Paul. You're ducking with me, right? No lie. They are in my high school yearbook. My bullies were all high achievers and are now doing pretty well with their lives. Their moms are friends with my mom, so I could never report the bullying. Mom didn't think people with good grades would ever bully anyone. And that I am the liar because I had bad grades. Parents are ducked up. One of them committed suicide. I still drink a few beers on him each year. He wasn't a bad guy. Just someone getting peer pressured and having to deal with his demons. The other ones, I've forgiven them. But only for myself. They altered my personality to the worse. But I'm over it. I don't wish anyone anything bad. Not even them. He apologized to me one day. A few months before I moved away. Told me that he felt bad about how he treated me. And said that it must have really hurt to be called those names. I told him I forgave him. That we were all just stupid kids. A week later he shot himself in the head in his parents' front yard. I skipped the funeral. I'm not sure why. Whether I was scared or tried to play it cool. But there is literally nothing I regret more than missing that.